You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another informative episode of Ask Drone U. I am your seemingly unabashful host, Mr. Paul. You call me Paul.
I don't know what that means, but I'm Rob.
I don't know what that means.
And I'm very, very glad to be here, and I'm very thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for the questions that you guys send in because keeps this thing rolling, and I have a lot of fun doing this. So thank you. Appreciate it.
So unabashed is not embarrassed, disconcerted, or ashamed.
Oh, okay.
Which I actually can be embarrassed because today's particular question actually brings up a topic that we have, not talked about. We've talked about batteries. We've talked about battery maintenance. We've talked about storing your batteries over long periods of time. And we've even talked about deep cycling those same batteries to ensure that you get the longest endurance out of them. But what we haven't talked about could actually be a crippling mistake. This is also why it goes to show why Drone U's enterprise training and scaling your drone teams is drastically different from any of our other training, because none of our other training talks about scalability. So why is this important? It's important because while your drone has batteries, what else has batteries, Rob?
Well, your phone. No, I'm kidding. Your controller, right?
Your
remote
controller.
Yes.
So what are the protocols for storing those batteries? And what are the protocols for keeping those batteries and those controllers healthy? Because you don't want to be like me and waste the money on an Inspire remote and an Inspire 2 remote and let them go bad because you never use them. So don't be like me and learn from today's lesson, which is brought to you by our phenomenal community, the Drone U community. Drone U, as you know, is a flight school. We have over 32 classes available for one low monthly price. But what people don't understand is that when most schools leave you hanging, you're done with the classes, see you later, bye, hope you had a good time. Well, Drone U is not like that. We actually have a thriving community that was born on inspiration, motivation, and helping people out rather than putting them down. So if you want to go to a group that's unlike any other Facebook group, well, on the internet, you've got to check out the Drone U community. Because if you're like me, and sometimes you need a little bit of inspiration, motivation, or maybe you need a question answered last minute, it's a great place to find that. So if you want to support the show or you want to become a better pilot, you've got to become a Drone U member today. By the way, we have a new course dropping this week, Rob, so very excited about that.
I'm excited about that because it's gonna be really good. Are we telling people what it is?
No, a teaser. Boop, boop.
Oh, wow. Okay. Anyways, you're gonna love it.
Hello, Paul and Rob. This is Ron Jorgensen with Bay Area Studios, and my question for today is that we have talked about all the flight batteries for all the different types of DJI and other drones that are out there and the proper maintenance and care, from not leaving them fully charged to long-term storage. But one thing that we haven't mentioned was the controller batteries. Don't even know what's in mine, actually, but I know I usually come home and charge it up, and I haven't seen any degradation in the amount of time that I use that over the last year or two. Just wondering what your thoughts are on the controller batteries. Appreciate you guys always for listening every week. Bye.
Thank you, Ron. Really, really appreciate that. It means a lot that you are a long-time and consistent listener. And thank you for the question. By the way, askdroneu.com for your questions. We know you have them. We know a lot of other people are thinking the same thing that you're thinking, but they won't call in for whatever reason, but you will. So please, we need your questions.
Yes, we really do. Now to the fun part. Yes, I did completely waste Drone U's money when we bought a double controller for the Inspire 1 and a dual controller for the Inspire 2. While I did utilize the second controller on the Inspire 1 oftentimes when I was live streaming the World Series of Wake Surfing, amongst other events, I really never used the dual remote on the Inspire 2 because most of the jobs that I was conducting were either on set or were post-process, so live streaming wasn't really that big of a deal. Now, that being said, there is a really huge market for having a second remote if you do work on set, or if you do work on small productions where the director wants to be able to see what you're filming. But what should you do with those remotes? Well, let me tell you what not to do. Don't leave them in your case for a period of 5 to 6 months unattended and think that they're going to be just fine. Typically, these remotes, whether they're Phantom remotes or whether they're Inspire remotes, are typically a 2S battery that's about 4,000 or 5,000 milliamps. I can't remember exactly how big it is, but you need to treat the remote just like you do a battery. I would just say that, when it comes to remotes, if this is a secondary remote, you've got to put it in your maintenance schedule, your standard operating procedures, to essentially make sure that you charge that remote once a month. Really, really, really important. If you don't use the remote, charge it up, leave it on, let it beep to high heaven in some room with a closed door, and just let the battery go down. Also, if if you're really smart, you really want to make sure the battery's okay, charge it every month. Whenever you do like a Flight A Friday, you do a practice flight, you're just doing a fun flight, turn on the second remote, connect the two, and just let it display a feed. Show it at home, show it to friends, just use it. You essentially have to use that remote. You've got to charge it at least once a month. I would deep cycle it once a month as well. That's probably a little overkill. But the thing is that I've waited literally a full quarter to charge the Inspire 2 remote, and it was dead. There's no way to recharge it. I've tried recharging it.
And you can't replace the battery in it?
I'm sure there's a way to. I wonder if
because those things are not cheap.
No, they're not. They're like $700. You know what? I'm not really sure. While I know that there's a shortage on parts from the Phantoms and the Inspires, I'm not really sure if there's a shortage on parts from remotes, because pretty much all the remotes are very, very similar. So not really sure. But the long and the short of this very quick and easy podcast is that you've got to add your controllers into your standard operating procedures in the maintenance what is it called? In your maintenance schedule, and then under batteries, add controller and ensure that once a month you're charging the battery and you're using the battery. I think that's pretty simple.
Wow. Well, there you go. But it is important because I think that it does get neglected. People don't think about it.
Now, if you want the full 1,700 line items of the standard operating procedures from DroneU, well, then you got to become an enterprise member, which isn't quite available yet, but should be at the end of the year. In addition, you can book a custom enterprise in-person training where you will get the standard operating procedures. On that bombshell, that's going to do it for a very quick podcast today. My name is Paul.
My name is Rob.
This is an easy one.